The March 10th, 2020 meeting of the Marion County School Board is called to order. Ms. Stacy, can you read our motto?
Yes. We are the Marion County Leadership Team. If we chose one word to describe us, it would be student-centered because student success is our mission. When we come together to work, we are efficient, effective, and relevant. Our three most important characteristics are dedicated, diverse, and dynamic. To work well together, we must demonstrate respect, confront reality, and clarify expectations and get better. We do not accept excuses. We will not accept mediocrity. We will always put students first, and we will leave a legacy of success. Thank you.
For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I'm requesting everyone in the audience, please turn off your electronic devices or put them on vibrate. Later in the meeting, up to 30 minutes will be provided for individuals to address the board on matters concerning the operation of the Marion County school system or the school board only. Presentations to the board are limited to 5 minutes and are televised. If you wish to address the board regarding a regular agenda item or matters on which the board customarily takes action, you must first complete a peach form located on the table in the hallway. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing or a student discipline matter, please complete a lime green form. These forms must be fully completed and received by the board secretary no later than 5:40 p.m. The procedures applicable for each are on a separate sheet. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mrs. Nancy Stacy, District 1. Mrs. Beth McCall, District 2.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly King, District 5.
Here.
Mrs. Nancy Thrower, District 4.
Here.
Mr. Eric Cummings, District 3.
Here.
Dr. Heidi Mayer, Superintendent.
Here.
Ms. Suzanne Green, School Board Attorney.
Here.
Dr. Heidi Mayer, Superintendent, please introduce the individuals who will be providing the inspiration and leading us in the pledge this evening.
This evening has been a long time in the planning, and to give you the background on why we have waited so long to celebrate this moment, I'd like to introduce Mr. David Ellers, and he will take it from here.
Good evening, everyone. Chairman Cummings, Mrs. Thrower, Mrs. King, Mrs. McCall, Mrs. Stacy, Dr. Mayer, Mrs. Green, Ms. Lopez. It is my privilege today to introduce a hero. We live in a day where being a hero can just be being posted on Instagram or being a fashion model or something of that nature, but in reality, we've got heroes walking around with us every single day, and it's my privilege today to introduce one to you. Brandon Hicks, a colleague and a friend, just recently came back from a year-long deployment in Afghanistan, where he served in the Florida National Guard unit, supporting our troops in the fight against terror. And I will turn it over to Mr. Hicks.
Thank you. Good evening, board members, Dr. Mayer, guests, students, and stakeholders of Marion County Public Schools. I thank you for this opportunity to briefly address you, and I brought with me a token. It actually traveled over 7,000 miles, unfortunately probably broke and replaced several times, but this flag was flown in Kandahar, Afghanistan on Kandahar Airfield in honor of all the students, teachers, board members, administrators in Marion County Public Schools. I flew this in their honor as my tribute to everything that you have done for me as a student, as a teacher, as a school administrator, and as a citizen of Marion County. So without further ado, I'd like to present this flag. It reads, "So that all shall know this American flag was flown on the 12th day of August," that was the first day of school this year, 2019, "in the face of the enemy, and bears witness to the strengths of the American people in the rebuilding and denying a safe haven for terrorists in support of Operation Freedom Sentinel, presented to Marion County Public Schools."
Thank you.
Now for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Hold on, Mr. Hicks. On behalf of the Marion County School Board, the school district, we thank you for your service. Everybody is not cut out to go, but we thank you for what you've done, and thank you for remembering us while you were over there, because we definitely remembered you, and you were in our prayers, so thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Once again. And welcome home, welcome home.
Right back to work he came.
Yes. Superintendent?
With the exception of item C 13.1, the 2019-2020 fiscal year contracts, instructional, principal, assistant principal, district administrator, and specialized personnel that has been pulled and placed under discussion, I recommend approval of the agenda for the March 10th, 2020 school board meeting with the materials in the board packet, those materials distributed to board members at the meeting, and the audio recording included as part of the official record of the meeting.
May I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Thor, seconded by Ms. King. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved unanimously. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the January 28th, 2020 school board meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall. Seconded by Ms. King. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? No discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the February 6, 2020 special administrative briefing work session?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall,
Second.
second by Ms. Thor. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? There being none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the February 6, 2020 administrative briefing and work session?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. King,
Second.
second by Ms. McCall. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? There being none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Ms. Lindsay Barber, Program Specialist, Social Studies, Curriculum Instruction Secretary, would like to recognize Marion County Public Schools National History Day Fair Award winners.
Good evening, Board Chair, Board members, Dr. Mayor. Under the leadership of Superintendent Mayer, the Secondary Curriculum and Instruction organized our third annual Marion County Public Schools National History Day Fair. National History Day is a nonprofit organization that creates opportunities for teachers and students to engage in historical research. Students learn history by selecting topics of interest and launching into research projects. Set by National History Day, the theme for 2020 is Breaking Barriers in History. Beginning in the fall, students chose topics related to the annual theme and conducted primary and secondary research. At the fair, they presented their work in paper, exhibit, performance, website, or documentary category. I would like to thank Scott Mitchell and Silver River Museum, who donated funds so that students could be recognized with special awards. I would also like to thank Fort King Heritage Association, who donated funds for student special awards, and Craig Curry, the president, and board member Diane Trice, who both spent time judging those projects. The fair would also not be possible without our many community members from various organizations who came and judged student projects, and the teachers and families that supported our students. The first and second place district winners have qualified for the Florida History Day State Competition in Tallahassee, May 3rd through 5th, and the program will conclude at the national competition held in June at the University of Maryland at College Park. Last year, we had our first student from Marion County Public Schools who participated in the national competition. So at this time, we want to recognize the following award winners. In the documentary category, Rishi Shakib, Harvey Wiley, The Man Who Changed America One Bite at a Time, Jace Timken, The Manhattan Project, J. Robert Oppenheimer Struggle, Alex Ajuzzi and Elizabeth Graff's project on General Chuck Yeager, Tucker Cornelius and Lane Absher, the 54th Massachusetts Regiment, Breaking Barriers in History, Riley Goodwin, exhibit, Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad. Also in the exhibit category, Caden Bucks and Cole Hagan, Jackie Robinson Breaks the Color Barrier. Dylan Harris and Robert Hicks, also on Harriet Tubman. Zella Jett and the Race to Space. Rashika Patel and Kimberly Epstein, Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev leading the world out of the Cold War. Marion Dahl, Fighting for Women's Rights, the story of how Elizabeth Cady Stanton broke barriers. Logan Martin, Vivian Thomas, the mender of the blue broken heart in the performance category. Thimily Figueras, Bernhard, the woman Hamlet, also in performance category. Carson Smith, performance on breaking the aeronautics barrier. Jaden Perry in the website category. Chuck Yeager, the first man to break the sound barrier. Hannah Lewandowski and Bradley Hitchcock, the human computer, Katherine Johnson. Allison Clark and Ruby Scott, also a Mind for Math, Katherine Johnson. Special award winners include Mahala Cunningham, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and the Fight for Women's Suffrage, Shannon Buchanan, the National Association of Colored Women, Priya Karab, Raven Wilkinson, Erica Estrada, Problem Pythons, Putting the Squeeze on Florida, Tanner Tidwell, Lewis and Clark's Expedition, Alexis Van de Vander, Founding Father of our country, George Washington.
Remember I told you guys we're gonna switch it up. You need to be seen in the picture. You guys need to come to the front.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Give your parents some pictures and you're gonna see the front. Tall, you're in the back. Not tall, you're in the front. Come over, hey, man, you come over here so we get such a lot.
This way and to the front.
Parents, principals.
Do me one favor,
Teachers.
guys, just scooch in as much as you can. There you go. All right, parents, snap away.
Keep smiling.
And if, ladies and gentlemen, turn around and they can give you their comments. So turn around and face the board. Thank you.
Face the board. How about that?
Yeah, now the small ones, now the not so talls need to move back to the front.
Here we go.
There you go.
To do a switch.
So congratulations to all of you. That is superior that you just took the history projects. That'll stay with you your whole life, and every now and then you'll run across that name or that project and you'll go, I know a lot about that. So thank you so much for staying the course and for being strong in doing those projects and doing them well, obviously.
Exactly.
And I'd like to say, if we don't know history, we're going to repeat it. And so the students that are involved in history, you're going to be leaders in that area, because as people are talking around the table when everybody's in college, and, you know, sometimes I watch these these news shows, and they interview children in college, and they ask them questions about who was the first president. They say Abraham Lincoln. And they're in high-level colleges. Not a single one of y'all would say that, and you're not even in college, because you understand history. And thank you for studying, and thank you for keeping America's history moving forward, so that the good part we can just wrap our arms around, and the bad part we won't ever have to repeat. Thank you for keeping it alive.
Congratulations on your project. There was a gentleman in here the other day, and he said that all history is our history.
That's right.
And just to hear your projects and the different names and what you studied, it sounds pretty spectacular and awesome. So keep up with the great work.
Great to be an American.
Sure is.
Yes.
Sure is. I always enjoy stopping by the history fair, and I recognize a few faces in here that I got a chance to stop by your exhibits, and talk to you and hear more about it. And even though you were a little disappointed because you gave me your best that I wasn't a judge, it was really great to hear from you and hear your perspective about the different folks and events that have transformed our world so far. And I just always enjoy this and really hope that you will take this with you. There was one exhibit that was about the child labor laws that were put into place because folks even younger than you used to work in the mills and everything. And I was thinking, well, I hope that gives you a whole new perspective of how fortunate you are, to be in school and have the opportunity to learn so much and not have to be out there, in dangerous circumstances, just trying to earn money for your family at such a young age. So it's important to know things like that so you can appreciate all of the good things that you have now and going forward. So congratulations, and I look forward to next year. It just keeps getting better and better, and thank you, Dr. Mayer, for really pushing this because it's noted for sure.
Thank you guys for taking the challenge, because every student did not take the challenge and put forth and go forth and do this project and work in this area. So that says a lot about you. So congratulate yourselves for that. But parents, we also congratulate you as well for encouraging your young people to go a step higher, a notch higher, to just challenge themselves to do something that everybody else could be home playing video games, but they took time to, and they probably wanted to as well, but they thought it not robbery to go ahead and work on a project. And I'm listening to the topics and these themes, and you guys chose some topics that some folk that I went to college with would not have touched. So good job, excellent job. And parents, give yourselves a hand as well for pushing these kids to higher heights. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
If you'll turn around one more time, we want to get one more picture. And we want to welcome Nathaniel Nihas, who did his project on Gettysburg. So scoot in, everybody scoot in one more time. Scoot on in.
Much lighter than we were last time.
And you students who do Facebook, this is the stuff you need to be posted so everybody can read about it. Read your
Yes.
so they can click in and read about what you discovered.
They do Instagram.
Those little tick
So this was in that packet?
I don't have
whatever they are.
teenagers, so I don't know that.
I have grandchildren.
It'd be interesting.
Dance to history.
I am older than you.
You're on record. You're on record. You're on record.
Just a wee little bit. Not enough to count. Once you get a certain age, it don't matter anymore. We're old.
Thank you, families, for coming out and supporting these young people
Yes,
tonight.
absolutely.
I've never been to Snapchat. You? Did you
Oh,
Snapchat?
yeah. No, I gotta keep up with, well, it started when mine were teenagers.
See, mine,
So I had
we
to
missed
keep
all
up with
that.
them.
We missed,
Yeah, no, there's
mine are all in their
Snapchats.
30s and up to 40s. So
Yeah.
I missed that.
But probably the Instagram.
We started
might
on
have that.
Space Coast, or what was it we had, Space?
MySpace.
Space Coast. That's what we started with. We started on the Space Coast. I used to tell Teal, freeze. Freeze. She got to take her hands off. Let's see what she's talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love seeing all our little fresh faces, you know.
Mr. Ken McAteer, Director of Secondary Education, would like to recognize the winners of the Marion County Public School Spelling Bee.
Good evening, Chairman Cummings.
Good evening.
Board members, Dr. Mayor. Under the leadership of Superintendent Mayor, Secondary Curriculum and Instruction organized the annual Marion County Spelling Bee at MTI on February 20th, 2020. Students who qualified for the County Bee were first selected via class spelling bees or quizzes to qualify for school-wide bees. 2 winners from each school-wide bee represented their schools at the Marion County Spelling Bee to compete for a spot at the Regional Bee in Orlando next week. The bee was sponsored by the GFWC Women's Club of Ocala, who provided judges, medals, and $25 travel for the winners. Head Judge Carol Cameron is a teacher at Saddlewood Elementary. Dr. Mayer was in attendance to greet the crowd and present the medals to the winners, and Jacob Oliva, Chancellor for Public Schools at the Florida Department of Education, thanks to Dr. Mayer, served as the word caller and moderator. Also in attendance were the school bee coordinators, as well as principals and assistant principals from each school. Lasting just under 2 hours and 11 rounds, the bee featured 16 students spelling nearly 100 words. The winners were, in second place from Bellevue Middle School, Owen Moody. And in first place from Liberty Middle School with the winning word of eradicate, you guys can try if you want, eradicate, Francis Baltodano.
So, Mr. Ingram, next week they go to Orlando and compete there, and who else is there?
So that is the entire region. It's the north side of the state.
Okay.
And that's the last round before the Washington Bee this summer.
So whomever wins in Orlando then goes to the Washington DC. for
Top
the
2
scripts.
qualify for
Okay.
Washington DC,
Okay.
yeah. So there's only 130 or so kids that get that honor.
Oh, wow.
So it's really awesome.
Turn around, guys. Listen, Francis and Owen, thank you guys for being great spellers. But I know going into preparing for a spelling bee is a lot of work because you're just going through books and dictionaries, just trying to make sure you have the right words. So this is the thing with a spelling bee. Not necessarily just have to know how to spell the word. Sometimes you have to know how that word came to be and to get the origin of it as well as the definition of it. So thank you guys for what you're doing, and congratulations. We expect you to do great in Orlando, and praying that you would go on to Washington, D.C.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, parents, as well. Congratulations, parents. Are you cold? Oh, okay.
How long did you, how many hours a day did you practice?
10 minutes.
No? So you and mom and dad were there to call out words, I'm sure, and be a part of that. So congratulations. That's a real commitment. That is total dedication to something. So good luck. That work ethic will follow you a long way.
And what was the winning word again? Eradicate?
Eradicate, which has been a big word in our state lately with the new standards, so,
Yes, yes.
Good.
Chancellor.
It does start with the E, right? E-R?
yeah.
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 Might be an A
How do you
coming
spell
after that.
eradicate?
E-R-A-D-I-C-K-T-E. Yeah.
Yes.
Good job. Good job. Thank you. Good
Good
luck
job.
to you. We'll be
Yes.
waiting to hear
Right.
how you do in Orlando.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys.
Yep.
Thank you, Board.
Did they get pictures? Did they get the pictures? Okay.
I used to tell my students like spell
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Look at me.
I'll now ask the school board's attorney to explain the rules governing persons who wish to address the school board tonight.
In compliance with Section 286.0114 of Florida statutes, the school board has adopted uniform procedures for public speakers who wish to speak at tonight's meeting, either regarding one of tonight's agenda items or a matter relating to the operations of the school district. These procedures will ensure the public has a reasonable opportunity to be heard on school board and school district matters. A written summary of these procedures is available from the table in the hallway. Public speaker forms are also located on the same table. The completed forms were due to the school board secretary no later than 5:40 p.m. Tonight's speakers will be called prior to the business portion of the school board's meeting in the order of receipt by the school board secretary. Before you begin speaking, please state your full name and address for the record and spell your last name. Each speaker will have 5 minutes of time. However, if there are more than 5 persons who wish to speak, the board may seek consensus to limit each speaker's time to 3 minutes. When the speaker has 1 minute remaining, the speaker will receive a visual notice to complete his or her comments. Speakers may not yield their time to other people. Speakers and meeting attendees are expected to conduct themselves in a respectful manner. Therefore, verbal attacks and profanity are strictly prohibited. Pursuant to the procedures for public comments, item 6, speakers are not to identify specific individuals other than themselves or their child unless the statement is provided 24 hours in advance. If there are matters dealing with student discipline, including expulsions, they will be scheduled at the conclusion of the televised portion of this meeting. Parents may address the board regarding a discipline matter at that time. To ensure student privacy, only a parent or guardian may use a student's first or last name. Identifying reference to or identification of other students and/or their families is strictly prohibited. Thank you for your attention.
Elena, are there any tonight?
We do. Mr. Waldemir Rivera.
Selena, I don't have it down.
Well, I actually should see that
Have to go
stuff
back to the
first,
attorney.
if you'll hand it.
Procedures.
You can give him to the
You
attorney.
can give them right here.
I'll
Jeff.
take
The
them.
attorney right here.
I'll pass them out. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Gualdemar Rivera. I'm spelled R-I-V-E-R-A. I'm a partnership specialist with the Census Bureau. And I work here in the Ocala area, Marion County. And probably you all know about the census because we've been all over the place. Already talked to the superintendent, Dr. Meyer. And you guys are actually helping us a lot. We have seen the marquees in the schools, all the data that we are being sent by mail, especially me because I do have a kid in school, right? And I have to talk to other parents, and they have said, yes, we're getting this census data, this information through the mail from the schools, which is excellent, okay? But still, we would like to ask for a little thing more, all right? Because we're never satisfied, okay? Because we need all to be counted once, and in the right place, of course. And because this count, the effect from this count depends a lot of things, like federal funding and all the impact that it has in the community, especially in the schools, right? So we have a program called the SIS, which is synonym for statistics in schools, okay? This program is very beneficial for schools and parents, okay? It teaches students educational concepts and skills through the use of census data in the classroom and also at home, okay? There's a lot of benefits. All the data is ready to be downloaded from the website. It's all free, okay? In the folder that I'm been handing out, you got a lot of information, all the benefits for the school, for teachers, especially for parents, okay? we need to immerse the kids at the young age to know and get exposed to what the census is. We need them to know what the census is. That's why we created this program. Last week, I was down in Orlando doing a presentation, and there was about 30 senior citizens there, and I asked them, by show of hand, how many of you have been exposed before to the census? Only one person raised a hand. I'm going like, oh my goodness, what's going on here? These are senior citizens that they have never filled out a census questionnaire, so they have never been counted, and probably their kids have not been counted. So this shows, the level of priority that we're trying to expose with this. So, like I said before, you are already helping us out, which we're very thankful for, but also we would like to ask for something. During the spring break, we want those marquees, all right? Marquees are already being put up with the census messages, like Marion Oaks Elementary School, that's my school. I have my kid there, my wife, she volunteers work twice a week there. And when I fully retire, I'm planning also to do some volunteer work there because I like that's my favorite school. Also, it's about 2 minutes from my house. So it's going to be very easy to do volunteer work there. And Horizon Academy also is helping us with that, and other schools, just to name a few. But during the spring break, we would like you to give us your marquees to stay there, to stay up there for the people who passes by, to know that the census message is out there. And please give us the marquees. That's all we are asking for. And please also keep helping us with the census effort. And that's it for now.
And
Thank you.
Mr. Christian, our Public Information Officer, just sent out an email with numerous jazzy new messages for the marquee, so
Yeah.
we got you on that.
We do appreciate that, and also I got big kudos from Atlanta because I sent a picture from specifically from the Marion Oaks Elementary School with the marquee, and I was the first one who sent a picture to Atlanta with the school marquee, and everybody was like very happy, especially me.
Well, over spring break, you can go take pictures of all of them.
All right.
There you go.
And I will too.
Thank
Well,
you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
So, and while he's here, I want to give kudos to Mr. Christian and his staff, because the flyers that they have created in English and Spanish are really a wealth of knowledge and really, really well done. So, Mr. Christian, thank you and your staff for putting those together, because it is so important that we all get counted.
Right, right.
There's millions and millions of dollars that we get for services when we have those numbers, so
There's a
it's
total
so
of
important.
$375 billion that the federal
Yes.
government is sending every year for the communities, including the schools. So we're making it happen. Thank you.
Right.
Thank
Right.
you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Don't go away quite yet. When Commissioner Stone helped kick this off in Marion County, I believe the number she shared that we missed out on 10 years ago was about $1 billion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't fill out the census.
Right, and that translates to big money for education and public safety and all kinds of things. So just wanted to let you know that we do have our stickers.
Oh, excellent.
We do have your back, and we will
Yeah,
pass these out, and I'm going to put mine on,
all right.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
right over my heart.
Well, I'm going to take a picture of you guys.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. And you can send it.
Hold on, we're gonna stand up so you
Yeah,
can
we
get a
need to
picture.
stand up.
After we put the
Did everybody
stickers
get
on.
one? Okay.
Excellent.
Ready?
Okay, here we go. Cheese whiz. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We do have another speaker, Ms. Langford, but we were going to hold you till afterwards, so we're going to go off air, since it is regarding a school discipline matter.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
That's it? Okay. We have a motion to approve consent agenda items C 7.1 through C 20.2, with the exception of item C 13.1 that has been moved to discussion.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. King,
Second.
second by Ms. McCall. Any discussion? Discussion, all in favor by aye?
Aye.
Approved unanimously. Discussion, approve change order D 22.1, approve change order number 1 amendment, work authorization number 7 deductive change. Order to replace skylight in the media center at Fort McCoy School, project 108 in the amount of $15,059.56. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. King,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Thrower. D 22.2, approve change order number 1, amendment work.
Don't we need to go
I'm sorry,
talk about that one first?
did we talk about it? I'm sorry. There's just, what's the discussion on this one? There's no discussion. All in favor signify by aye.
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 Approved. Approved change order number 1, amendment work authorization number 55, deductive change, construct a security fencing system at North Marion High School as part of the district-wide security fencing project number 18-106 in the amount of $7,916.10. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. King,
Second.
second by Ms. McCall. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to approve 2019-2020 fiscal year contracts, instructional principal and assistant principal, district administrator, and specialized personnel?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Thrower,
Second.
seconded by Ms. King. Ms. Stacy, I understand you pulled item C 13.1, 2019-2020 fiscal year contracts, instructional principal and assistant principal, district administrator, and specialized personnel. You wish to have further discussion?
I'd like to have a little discussion about that. I've asked a lot of questions. There's some things that I've asked some questions about, and there's some issues that are kind of pending out there that we've discussed in some executive sessions, and I would like to table that until date sensitive in 2 weeks. And I'd like to make a motion that we table this, voting on this item, and bring it back to the board in 2 weeks. Can I get a second on my motion?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and properly seconded, but moved by Ms. Stacy, seconded by Ms. King, that discussion on C 13.1 be moved for 2 weeks.
So that'll be on the March 24th board meeting.
So it's the March 24th discussion. All in favor? By aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. I have a motion to approve the following cash or tangible donations that have a total value of $61,640.55. $3,000 to Bellevue High School from Marion County Hospital District, $2,500 to Pheasant Elementary School from their business partner, Allstate Construction Incorp. via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County, $1,000 to Forest High School from ADDO Institute Incorporated, $2,000 to Hammett Bourne Elementary School from IBM, $1,120 to North Marion High School from One Blood, Inc., $4,000 to Reddick Collier Elementary School from Dollar General Corporation. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Thor. Any discussion? All in favor by aye?
Aye.
All right, Ms. King, can you give them the thanks for this one?
I sure will. On behalf of the Marion County School Board, we graciously accept your generous donations, and just, again, thank you for looking out for Marion County Public Schools. We sure do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next regular administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for April 9th, 2020 at 9:00 a.m. The purpose of the work session is to discuss new charter school application review, annual review of alternative learning district staffing plan, 204, emergency manual update, proposed new cafeteria at Osceola Middle School, audit presentation 2018-2019 with Purvis and Gray auditors, Allison L. Stone and Tim Westgate, and African American History Community Advisor Team Committee. The following administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for April 23rd, 2020, at 9:00 a.m. The purpose of the work session is to discuss long-range planning, annual review of health insurance 2020-2021, board concerns, value adjustment board appointments, district staffing plan 3 of 4, comprehensive mental health plan, and emergency manual update if needed. We're at the end. Committee reports, concerns, comments.
I have none.
Attorney Green,
None, thank you.
Elena, Superintendent, Mayor.
Yes, Officer Massio, thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate you. Well, and it was a quick meeting tonight. Very quick. Oh, wow, okay. But we enjoyed having you here, so thank you again. We want to congratulate Ben Whitehouse, who is one of our area directors and former awesome principal. He completed the Brian Dassler Leadership Academy through the Florida Department of Education, and that in itself is an honor, but to achieve what he did with such great feedback from the folks who organized that, we are so proud of him. So congratulations, Mr. Whitehouse, completing the Brian Dassler Leadership Academy. Yes, that's awesome, isn't it?
Quite an
Yeah,
accomplishment.
it is quite an accomplishment. So a few weeks ago, we were district-wide, we do our active intruder drills once a month. And about 2 weeks ago at Emerald Shores, they were having their active intruder drill. And the response to that is the ALICE protocol, which all of our staff have been trained. All of our staff have been trained. That day, when it was a practice, so a drill, and that day, though, we had Mr. Upton from our downtown facilities department. He was out fixing the playground, taking care of that kindergarten playground for us. And he didn't know it was a drill. All he heard on the intercom was that it was to go into the ALICE protocol. So Mr. Upton stopped what he was doing, and during ALICE protocol, the principal or whoever is in charge of that will get on the loudspeaker and give a description of the intruder or the suspect person. And that is part of the ALICE protocol to do that. So Mr. Upton, when he's out on the playground, and again, this is a great message for families and community that we have intercoms out on the playground, so these folks hear it. So Mr. Upton, out fixing the playground, hears the description of the intruder and looks and sees the intruder walking across campus. Now again, remember that we know that this is somebody playing the intruder. He didn't know that. Mr. Upton dropped what he was doing and ran towards that intruder. At the same time, the SRO, who participates in the drill, and we love our SROs, the SRO is taking off from another side. Mr. Upton then stays with the SRO and supports him in this effort. Again, Mr. Upton thought this was real. Oh, I know. So to know that we have folks who every day, teach our kids with the highest expectations, who drive those school buses, get them to school, take care of facilities, and would put their life on the line to save our kids, that's just amazing. And wow, what a great message to go out on spring break with. And Mr. Upton, thank you so much. What a humble man he is. Emerald Shores, he was there that day. And a reminder that spring break is next week, so March 16th through the 20th is spring break. A reminder that I'm sure will be echoed to make good choices, all of us, while we're on spring break, and to stay safe, and to remember while you're making those good choices, just to stay in tune with Centers for Disease Control and that website. We have the banner up, and just stay in tune with what's happening with current events, and we're certain that all will be well, but precaution is part of all of us staying well. So I look forward to seeing everybody back that following Monday and ready to learn even more. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mayor. Ms. Stacy?
Charlie Dixon Music Festival is Thursday evening. If you have not been, it is a fabulous elementary music festival featuring all of our schools. All of our schools, I think, participated last year, so it's pretty good. It starts at 6:30. Nope, it's Thursday night. This Thursday night.
This Thursday night, okay.
It's only Tuesday. So it starts at 6:30 at First Baptist Church. So it's a wonderful, you'll be very pleased with all the music you hear. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. King?
Yes, I just want to share what a true testament of Marion Technical College is, their fire college. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to visit on their information session. And when we were in there, it came to be that there was actually a future student that drove all the way from Key West because he had heard that the fire chief thinks that this is the best program up here. And also there was another student from Manatee County in just this small group. So I was like, that is quite a testament that good things are happening at that fire college, that actually students, future students, are driving that distance.
That's awesome.
And so I just thought I'd share that with you because that is just pretty good news. And then also, I just want to tell our students and all of our employees that this next week, just enjoy your family and your friends and do whatever it is that you love to do. And so that's all I have for this evening.
Ms. Roar?
I do have a few things, and again, I echo everyone else's sentiments so far about having a safe and happy and wonderful and uplifting spring break, and I didn't want to forget to say that at the end of my comments, and very much look forward to seeing everyone back and for the full court press towards the end of the school year, which will be here before we know it. And just moving forward, we approved an agenda item tonight. It was C18.1, the approval of the Unified School Improvement Grant, otherwise known as UNISIG. And that's a $502,000, almost it's a very large sum of money having to do with our turnaround schools, specifically Oak Crest and Evergreen. And what that means to those schools is $273,000 and change to Oak Crest, $204,000 and change to Evergreen. And it is a grant that really takes a lot of work to submit timely, which this district does do. And then it gets up to the state, and it seems like then it takes a while to get it approved and then get the monies flowing, and that does create confusion and frustration at different levels, including with our teachers that we're trying so hard to not just support, but also retain, because working at any turnaround school or any school is a challenge, but turnaround schools especially so. So I just felt like it was important to give kudos to Dr. Tara Halls and her team. She's been the grant administrator. And not only do we have, and just a little tidbit for teachers and others to look forward to. Stay tuned for some nice announcements coming forward soon that you'll appreciate. But also to make sure that it is emphasized that with a process as complicated as this is, it's important to refine it so that it becomes more streamlined, easier for people to understand, and that we get the money in the places that we need it the most as soon as possible, because as we all know, the school year only has 180 days, and we want to make sure that schools that are struggling get what they need as quickly as possible. So in addition to doing a great job with this year's grant, there are already a few components that are being adjusted for next year in order to make things more understandable, and also to get those monies flowing more timely. And this couldn't be more important. You know, the stakes are very high for the people that are taking on this challenge at the school level, and also for us as taxpayers, because every time a school goes into turnaround status, it costs a lot of money, and it's a hard thing for everybody. So I just wanted to acknowledge that it's good to have been able to approve that tonight, and hopefully we'll be able to improve it a lot sooner next year.
We won't need it.
And we won't need it. Yes, exactly, perfect point. And stay tuned for more good news. So that's going to be a great way to start spring break. The second thing, I just wanted to share some updates on Oakcrest and Evergreen. Oakcrest did change their start time a little bit, which we approved, and the trend is continuing to look better, and it is fluid because this time of year, you get cold and flu season, and you tend to have more absences, but even within that, the tardies are down significantly, the early checkouts are down significantly, and even the absences are down a little at Oakcrest. So Ms. Bayless, yes, continues to be very grateful that she was heard and that we were able to help out with that. So that's good. And then as far as Evergreen is concerned, they had a different problem. Their tardies weren't so high. It was the absences because the kids are getting bussed over from a long distance, a good number of them. So if they missed the bus, they weren't coming. Well, now what we're finding, again, due to the building on really connecting with the students and the families, and this started, it's always been in place, but it was really emphasized last year and then continuing into this year. And so what Ms. Kemp is noticing is that while the tardy rates are going up, the absences all day are going down. So parents are finding ways and caregivers are finding ways to get the kids to school, albeit late, but at least not missing a whole day. Yeah, and they're coming up with all kinds of creative ways to capture those lost minutes of instruction during the day, and just working their hearts out. And I know all schools are, but these two schools especially have been in the spotlight. And so I think it's just important to keep championing them and let them know that we see you, we hear you, and we really appreciate everything that you're doing. The next uplifting tidbit I have to share is about our most recent mammogram event, and I have some data for you. 47% of our employees that showed up on this Saturday event designed for our employees to get their mammograms, because we know how important early detection is, 47% of the participants had not had a mammogram in at least 2 years, and 16% had not had a mammogram in over 10 years. So we are really capturing the folks that, for whatever reason, in the past had not availed themselves of these free, mammograms that we've always offered, but we just hadn't offered them on Saturdays before and kind of made an event out of it. And so that is great data. 49 screenings were performed. 25 of those were from the previous date back in January's waiting list. So obviously the word is getting out there, and can't thank Radiology Associates enough. Thomas Buss, Barrett Liner, Laura Lingle is the one that shared this data with me. And also 23 of the patients that were there visited with a certified bra fitter, and each received a free bra. So not only did you get a mammogram, there were also just lots of really fun things to avail themselves of. And then the last thing I have is a couple of meetings ago, I shared the data on having a school board work session in the evening going forward. And just as a quick refresher, it was Tuesday or Thursday that was by and large the most, where there was the most interest. 5 p.m. seemed to be the most majority that wanted that time. Monthly, so having one a month. Over 70% of folks that had not attended a work session ever or longer than a year ago, it was continues to be due to work conflicts. So if we can do something to fix that, and especially because we have a lot going on, this seems to me like it would be the perfect time to start with a very tailored agenda and maybe put a time limit on it, 5 to 7 or 5 to 6:30 or whatever the board decides, and give it a go. And I'm not sure how quickly we could turn this around, Dr. Mayor, and I realize that it would be, other districts do it and they do it well, but it's a change. So I want to be mindful of what the process may be and how soon we might be able to give this a try, depending on how the rest of the board feels. It continues to be really important to me, again, we all talk about community involvement and parent involvement, but then it comes down to what are we doing to facilitate it? And so I hope that we can settle this and make a plan.
I want to say that when we have these meetings in the evening, we will be asking employees to stay, that would maybe be 3 Tuesdays in a month, They may have families, and time is important. So I would suggest maybe that at the beginning, we just try maybe even just an hour, because if the room looks, if we don't have a lot of participation and we're asking our employees to be home and away from their families, and they do work hard during the day, then I just want us to be very careful and think about this, you know.
I agree with Kelly. I would like to maybe try one and see how it goes, but I'm not willing to commit to one a month at this juncture until I know what they filled out, but will they truly participate? I think we can try it, but I agree with Kelly. We ask a lot of our staff now, and to pull them out 3 nights a month for a long period of time
Right.
for a school board. So I say we try it once, but I'm curious about the participation.
The only have to be a topic that would, I think if we had a topic that really interested people, we might have to get kind of creative and have something that's interesting. Maybe some type of parent involvement type thing, or topic on why parents are having absenteeism, and the parents might want to share with us, maybe at the schools, there's this, that, or the other, the buses or this, that, or just kind of talk to us about it. There's people that could come. There might be teachers that might want to talk to us about the different clubs that are set up in the schools and how, we don't know. We don't know what people want to talk to us about. What I know, though, is that when people grab me in Publix, they're all talking about something. And so if they could talk, and I can't talk to the other board members about this because of the sunshine, but if you could come to a board meeting, but to come to a board meeting during that during that time and everything, it's kind of, there's so many other things going on. It's kind of crowded in here. So we might be able to get real creative and think of a topic that might really interest the public, that they might want to, even if it's a quarterly evening meeting, if they all knew that we were going to have this, and all of our staff wouldn't really have to come, we would just have the staff that maybe is focused around that issue, and not have
So maybe at the beginning, a quarterly, just because, again, we are asking our employees, and I'm talking on behalf of what I am hearing, and I think our topics are very important, but there has to be participation. But at the same time, we have to be respectful of our employees and their time with their families in the evenings and stuff like that. So maybe we could do a survey, find out some topics that they may be interested, and tailor it. I think we need to be very reasonable of what we are requesting from our employees.
And there's a difference between a town hall meeting format.
workshop.
And a workshop. So it would, if it was going to be a true work session, which then it would be using our time wisely as well, we want to make sure that it's something that is going to appear on an agenda. And frankly, I think there's a lot going on right now that the public and the community are really taking an interest in, and we're going into a new budget, year, new staffing plan, all kinds of things. We've got, 2 schools, Oak Crest and Evergreen, that we're really, championing. We've got redistricting going on. So when we're going to have things on our next school board agenda, perhaps then we could decide, okay, these would be the items that the public would want to know more about. I'm a little concerned about only trying it once, because a one and done is just that. It takes a little time for people to remember, oh, yeah, it's a work session. And then we also need a chance for the grapevine to kick in and hear whether or not folks really think it's worthwhile. But it would be like a pilot in a way. And I'm mindful of all the things that you are sharing too. And it needs to be often enough, especially right now, so that people don't forget. And I thought about quarterly as well, but then you think about quarterly, okay, well, it's already into March. It's going to be April, May, June, and a lot of big decisions will have been made.
Right, but there are 2 Tuesdays a month that this room
Right.
looks exactly like this. And I'm not being pessimistic or ugly, but everything on this agenda involves our school systems and everything that's taken place, whether it be what salaries are, whether it's, policy. and it looks like this. And that, again, I just am asking that we're very mindful of our employees' time and what we're asking and expecting out of them. Because they're not going to come before us and tell us no. They're going to do whatever we ask, but, you know, when we're asking people to leave their families in the evening, we're asking them to find sitters maybe, we're asking them to be away from their family. So I'm just throwing these, you know, these concerns and these issues out, but
And I hear you as well, and it's also one of those things where, in a work session, that's where the bulk of a discussion happens. In a school board meeting, 99% of the whole meeting is consent agenda and presentations. So it's not, a school board meeting isn't really designed for public comment, where our work sessions,
If we designed it around public comment.
if we designed it around public comment and made, you know, and we may have our own input too on what we're hearing from constituents as to what they might want to know more about. I feel like we either need to try it or not try it and do it soon, and see where it goes. But I agree with you that with a tailored agenda, then the only employees that should need to be here would be the ones that would be affected on that particular agenda for that work session. So there wouldn't be a reason to have a whole room full of employees hanging around, you know, past 5 o'clock, even though I'm sure there's ways to compensate them. They do this in other counties. In fact, many other counties have been doing evening work sessions for years. So it's not novel, it's not new, it's just a chance to facilitate participation. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But at least then we can say, we heard, we tried it, and we listened.
Nothing beats a failure but a try. So I'm in agreement that we should try it. Initially, I was to the point where I thought quarterly as well. I'm not sure how we would structure it as far as the items, but I think we definitely need to give it a wholehearted try. When we need to try this, I'm not sure. You guys are gonna have to we're gonna figure that out, but we do need to be mindful because we have staff members that are here and would be moving away from some of their time, and they may not be getting compensated for it, or we have to flex or something, and that's a serious concern. But we need to make sure that we take all those things into consideration. But I'm willing to try it. So.
And I'm happy to reach out again to a couple of districts that I've got good relationships with, and yes, and ask them how they do the compensation, because that is important.
And find out what kind of topics will draw people out. Because,
Right.
you know, find out, okay, if you had a nice evening work session and you had participants, what was your topic and what brought the people out, so that we kind of,
Right.
there might be a topic we can't even sit here like right now even think of.
Yeah.
But then once we hear it, like, oh, yeah, everybody wants to know about that. But right now, we can't think of what it is. So that would be
Now they
great.
also, I just want to remind us also that they also have, our work sessions are now televised. Everything's televised, so it's not even like they're questioning and wondering. They can even watch those, you know, as they're happening. So they're televised.
They are
And so,
televised now.
I mean, it is televised. We're kind of living in a different time. And so, you know,
So let's give it a good try. Let's shoot for, if you guys are in agreement, a quarterly. Let's at least do 2 quarters, see what happens.
So when would the first one be?
Well, we couldn't do it before April because of advertising and everything. And we need to look at what our April work sessions look like, because we don't want to have to add another work session if we don't have to.
correct.
I mean, if we're going to do a work session, we need to do a work session. I thought that was the whole thing.
Yeah,
and
me
not-
too.
Not plan something special
Extra,
for this
right.
that would be a town hall.
Right.
But if we want to truly do a work session, that's what we need to do.
And you know, it may end up being to the employees' benefits in a way, because if we, say for example, and we've all said this before, we're here anyway, let's get it done. So if we know that our day work session during the month or quarter or whatever we decide on is going to be longer, then we can plan for that and, you know, have our lunch or whatever. And that would be within the scope of the typical workday. And then our evening work session, like Ms. King was saying, would be limited to an hour maybe, with a couple of topics that were going to be agenda items for upcoming board meetings of interest. And so that they're short, they're tight, we're on it. People know that they can come and give their input face-to-face, which is something we're always encouraging students to do. Get out from behind your screen and come and interact, person to person. I think it's setting a great example.
Want to come up and talk too.
They may.
If the principals, if they got the word out, the school board's talking about this at their work session, what do you have to share about it? We don't know.
That would really be cool as far as the civics initiative that we've worked so hard on.
Yeah, I just want us to be careful also, I feel like I'm negative, but I also want us to be careful that we're not pressuring our principals that they have to, be here on their time off and taking away from their family and things that they need to be doing. I think we have to be very, very careful and really consider and think about where this is going, but
Find out what other districts do, let us know.
Yeah,
Find
maybe
out.
that. Find out, I'm curious where the other districts are and how it works and, so if you can just give us more
Maybe if you got some
information.
information, then send it over to Terry or somebody, and they could just send it to all of us.
So let me ask the question. Are you talking about replacing one of the day work sessions
Yeah, with the night.
with a night?
Right. So instead of two
Some of our
daytime
day-
work
some of our-
sessions.
Some of our day sessions go hours.
Well, and sometimes we try to push through them because we're not expecting them to go all that long, and then we're hungry, and we've made other arrangements and appointments that we have. So again, it's us deciding how we want to organize
I would
this.
honestly like to have a town hall where the people come.
And that would be,
Talk to us.
yeah.
As a board, not even necessarily a work session. That way you wouldn't have to have so many employees be here, because we wouldn't be working through like Ms. Boston Ellis and those kind of issues. But I would like for us to have a time where the public can just come talk to us, and have a town hall where they can say, okay, this is happening at our school. Why isn't it happening at this school? We got a question for you. We can share with them what we know. If not, we take our notes, post it on a website or something that answers to the questions, so the people that were here can go to the website and see it. Just to generate some interest in that we care about the public's opinion. And I see heads shaking back. I see heads nodding. Because I don't know that it needs to be a work session so much as a time for the people to talk to us.
Well, that's public comment during board meetings.
Right.
And I do want to applaud the board, because in the past few months, you've been more than gracious with allowing folks to speak their mind. So I don't think that's ever been a hindrance, that part of it.
It's just the time of day that seems to be
they're
the
talking on the
sticking
topic.
point.
Like they're talking on the topic, but people might just want to come, and there might be people out at the senior citizen area. You got so many nice choirs and everything. Could they come sing at our nursing home? Or, I don't know, they might have questions about, could they come sing at the nursing home at Hawthorne or whatever, or just get people just kind of interested in our schools. And, because we're asking them to support our art program and everything, and we've got these kids that could be performing at different places and everything, but they're kind of like it's the best kept secret. They are, but at Christmas time, they might want them to come. I'm just saying Hawthorne, I've never been in there except through the front doors barely. I'm just using that one because it's a nice, beautiful building. They might want to come and just sing, and I don't know, we don't know what they might ask of us. And so here we are taking their money, and maybe they've got something they want to ask for us.
Yeah, and that sounds very worthwhile.
The kids
My
would
my
love it.
outreach
Something
and
for the kids, great.
right, my outreach and advocacy has centered around evening work sessions to address issues that will likely come up at future board meetings. But that's not to say that the same research and advocacy could go into designing a town hall concept too. Just to circle back around to what I was proposing here, I really would like to try it. I think it's important. I think that anything that we do to stimulate input is worthwhile. I will reach out again to a couple of districts and get them to send me a couple of sample agendas and that kind of thing. But I don't want to sit on this too much longer.
I think you have a consensus on all those saying we don't mind trying it, but let's get have a good structure on
But
it.
are we going to have a work session, or are we gonna have a town hall?
Right.
I'm advocating for a work session.
Yeah, I'm for a work session, if it's going to be a work session for people to come and discuss the issues that are gonna be coming up.
At
on the
hand,
agenda.
that are timely.
So if it's gonna be a work, if we're shooting for a town hall, that's something different, then we need to
a great
talk
idea.
about that. It's a good idea, very good idea. So let's, Ms. Thrower, I suggest, can you get some information on the structure of those counties that are doing an afternoon work session?
Okay, and I'll have
then-
it for the work session
And then
on
we can discuss
Thursday?
in the work
I'll
session.
share with you what I have too. from-
Okay, great, thank you.
Everybody-
Then maybe we can try one in April.
Yeah.
That'd be
Everybody in
great.
agreement?
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
All right, other than that, I think that's it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great spring break. Hopefully you'll have one.
We will. Good evening, everyone. I do want to first give our condolences to the Westport family. There was their students that over the weekend passed away, and our prayers are with them because anytime we lose one of our students, it affects all of us as a school district, and we know that the hearts of those at Westport are extremely hurt right now, so we're going to be praying for that family and the Westport family as well. Spring break is upon us. Spring break is upon us. A few more days, I've heard some district staff saying they are counting down to Friday. They can't wait for Friday, and I heard a whole lot of stuff, and they are counting down. I heard a slogan that I hadn't heard in a long time that it's like, what are you going to do for spring break? So they're heading for the mountains. If you're my age, a little bit older, you know what that meant. so I
Run to the
said,
hills.
wow. I said, okay, I haven't heard that one, but it's going to be a good spring break. What I'm going to advocate for is that I don't care what you are doing, just be safe. That's the primary thing, to be safe this spring break. If you're going to the beach, be safe. If you're going to the mountains, be safe. Whatever you're doing. If you're staying at home, be safe. Please be aware of your surroundings when you're going out to different places. We just want to make sure that everybody go and have a great spring break, but we want to make sure that everybody comes back and be safe. So we're looking forward to the break as well. And then as far as we know that there's a lot going around with the coronavirus, I ask you, I plead with you, there's a banner up on our website. We've talked to the health department. Things are changing daily with advisories and things from Department of Education and the other agencies that will make decisions about things. So please stay up on the information that's coming out. If something changes, of course, we'll make sure that we get that information out to you as soon as possible. But just know that we're in an environment where something could change in minutes. And we just want to make everybody aware of that. But please wash your hands. One of the things I've been reading and keep hearing in all the groups that I'm in is that if you're washing your hands consistently and just being cautious, we don't want anybody to be panicking about anything. We want you to still enjoy life, but just be safe.
I heard some good news today on the news. A prominent doctor was talking about it, and he said that it's not really like for our school-age children. It's really not hitting school-age children that hard, so that's good for our schools. That the average person right now, the average age is 80 that's dying from this, and that people, when they have the flu, younger people actually die from the flu. But in this case, the average age, they've taken an average the age, it's 80 years old, and that children are really doing quite well with it. So that's good news for our schools. If it should hit, at least, for young
able to
children,
get past
they're finding out as they're studying the virus that
Right.
that the young people are.
And there's going to be more and more information coming out about it. I do want the parents to know that while we are on spring break, the schools are going to be getting some extra cleaning and some filters and things changed to make sure that it doesn't get in the school. We're going to do everything that we can as a school district to make sure that our schools are good and that our kids are safe. So just be safe wash your hands and do those things that you would normally do anyway. So again, we thank everybody for coming out tonight, everybody for paying attention to this. I pray all my colleagues and everybody up here have a safe holiday, safe break. And get you some rest. Get some rest. And I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it to the Charlie's Daniel, at least for 30 minutes.
Not the
And-
Charlie Daniel,
Is it
Charlie Dixon.
Charlie Dixon?
Charlie Daniels is.
Charlie Daniel is the country singer.
Georgia, going down to Georgia. Pastors aren't supposed to.
Charlie Dixon. Charlie Dixon. Charlie Dixon. I will make it there for at least 30 minutes.
Show up at the wrong place.
But because I really believe in the arts, I really believe in kids and music. I was involved with music when I was in school, and I really think that is one of the classes that really brings out creativity in our young people. So I want to come. I won't be able to stay long, but if I step in and take a couple of pictures, and I do want to encourage our kids. So, all right. With that being said, before addressing expulsion matters, I wish to acknowledge the board members have received alternative placements lists for students through February 19, 2020. Ms. Martina Lopez, are there any parents who have submitted a timely request to speak on their child's disciplinary matter?
We do, we have 2 off air.
2 off air, okay. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of student JD 20-128 with educational services through the remainder of the 2019-2020 school year and the first semester of 2020-21 school year?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall,
Second.
seconded by Ms. King. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of student JD 20-129 with online educational services through the remainder of the 2019-2020 school year and the first semester of the 2020-21 school year?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Orr. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Approved unanimously. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of student JD 20-130E, JD 20-131, JD 20-132, JD 20-133, and JD 20-135 with educational services through the remainder of the 2019-2020 school year and all of the 2020-21 school year.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. King,
Second.
seconded by Ms. McCall. Any discussion? All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Motion has passed unanimously. There are parents who have requested to speak. Okay, we must protect the privacy of students. I'll be calling a brief recess to clear the room prior to discussing the student discipline matter. Parents will then have an opportunity to address the board. This is not a due process hearing. It is only an opportunity for parents to express their concerns. This concludes the televised and business portion of the meeting. Meeting recessed at 6:48 p.m.